am I though?
Yeah, you're way
Okay,
behind.
buddy.
I can tell you that as your husband, it's totally unbiased.
Yeah, if it's coming from you about me, it's definitely bias.
You know, I find it really interesting that I give you suggestive criticism and you just never take it.
Suggestive
Yeah.
criticism.
Yeah,
But did you?
Suggestive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Suggestive.
yeah,
Yeah.
almost.
What does
You
suggestive
sounded like you were
mean?
saying digestive. but
No,
with a
what
sub.
does suggested mean?
It means that you should
No,
take
no, no.
it.
What's the meaning of the word?
You should take it.
No. It means you think I should take it.
Right,
Right. You suggest I listen.
right,
Only you suggest I listen.
right.
So I don't need to listen.
Nah, Gary, I need help here, man.
Yeah, I think we're all reeling a little bit about the election.
Oh, I think
Yeah,
you think
yeah.
that's what
I
it
think
is?
that's probably, yeah, I
You know
I
what?
feel
The
that.
election was a lot closer than what the media said it was going to be, but they were right. The Liberals did win. So
Yeah.
I,
they won. Here in Canada, I will guess make the announcement for those using the States that really don't care. But we brought in Liberal government. And I'm not sure why, but
I didn't
that's-
help bring them in.
That's what the popular vote was.
I did
Well,
not help
actually,
bring them
was
in.
it popular vote? No. Maybe. They didn't, no, they didn't win by much, they're not a majority.
No, they got minority, it said when
minority
I looked it
government?
up.
They're like 3 away from majority.
Are they? Is it at all close there, Gary?
Yes, it is. It's only by 4 votes. If they get 4 more votes, they will have a majority.
Are you serious?
So.
Yeah, they're down. I believe it was 4 votes, so they still have some miscellaneous counting to do. But most of the news media does not believe they will get those votes. But they're just they're less than a handful away.
Okay. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, there you go.
So-
I mean.
Just wondering what, like, I don't follow politics a lot because I just think it's dumb, a lot of it. So I don't know a lot. But what's the difference if they have a majority or they don't?
Oh, shoot, what are you talking about? If they have a majority, they can pretty much do
Decide
as
anything
wish,
they
yeah,
want.
because they have the number of votes. It is to vote in things like free dental for illegals crossing.
So have they ever
over
had a
the-
majority?
Yes.
When?
Yeah,
Yes.
The Liberals have had a majority.
Not
Often.
last term.
Yeah.
Not, not,
'Cause
I
didn't
think the
Indy-
first time with Trudeau they did, but the second time
Yes.
they didn't. The second time
No,
they
the
did-
first 2 times he.
Huh, go ahead.
First 2 times he did, yeah. First 2 times he did with the first 2 elections when they called, and then this last couple of years he did not.
Yeah, but the NDP teamed up, said, "Hey, we'll be your friend if you."
That's what they're doing now.
Ask. Oh, they're doing that.
That's
again?
what they're doing tonight.
Oh, wonderful.
So for practical, I won't interrupt you guys, but for practical purposes, the Liberal Party does have the majority government. They'll be able to do what they want because the NDP has 28 seats or so, and they want a lot of stuff because they went right off the map, losing everything, and they want concessions. So the Liberal Party will hook up with NDP and get their votes. So basically, Carney will have a majority government. Anything he puts through will pass over the next 4 years.
The issue that I have with that is not necessarily that the Liberal government has, let's say, this kind of majority government, whatever. My problem is NDP is mixed up in that crap. And so NDP says, nope, we're only going to vote with you if you give free dental to illegals crossing over the border. Like these kind of stupid things that we bring in to, I don't know, our wallets. Like there should be, if you're going to bring in stuff like that, we should be able to vote on it. Like, okay, fine. Everybody sort of voted and they voted Liberal. Great. You know what? You pay the Liberal taxes increases that they're going to bring. You know, they want to give free dental to, I don't know, special whatever. Okay, great. all the people who voted for that, they pay it. The rest
That's
of
a
us don't
good
have to pay it.
Sorry,
Like,
that's a
it's
good idea.
insane. And you know, because
It-
they're spending our money or everybody's money, they don't care. But once it actually is just going to be their money, all of a sudden everybody isn't going to want all this free stuff to be given away.
Well, I have an update for you. I'm on an update right now that just came in about 3 minutes ago.
Yeah.
The Liberal Party has 169 seats. You only need 172 for a majority. Right? So you need 3 more seats. Now, the NDP won another 7, and the NDP said they will work with the Liberals. So that means, obviously, if the NDPs give the Liberals those 7 votes, they're way over the majority. So it looks like, for all practical purposes, the Liberal government will have a majority government here in Canada.
So we're screwed.
Not true.
Basically, like Randy said, the Liberals are going to come out with, I already read the manifest today, what Carney's going to do, and already our taxes are going up, the interest rates are going up, he's going to be fighting Trump and he's going to lose, and he's doing more for immigration, he wants another 500,000 people a year coming in, so it's not going to be pretty, but hey,
That's what we've
Where are
all.
That's
they
such
going?
is
Where are
life.
they putting
Yeah.
all these people?
well, it's votes for them. There's not enough housing, as we know, it hasn't been for many years. But
Yeah.
it's votes for them, because if they can get these people in and fast track them to permanent residency and citizenship, these people they remember that. What party did this for us? What party gave us this? And the cards and the this and the that. That's how they get their votes. That's how they play politics. But back to you guys.
And that really does make sense. That's why I like liberals, because liberals allowed me into the country. And I'm not going to say I hate on them, but right now, it's gone too far. And you know what I was actually surprised at, Gary, was that the PPC, who had split from the Conservatives because they didn't think the Conservatives were conservative enough, they got 0.
Where are they? I don't
That's
see them on
correct.
your screen.
They got 0. So does that
Yeah,
mean that
they're-
party no longer exists?
No, it would still exist, but as a matter of fact, one of the gentlemen who has a political show here is on that party, and they still exist, but they're not considered a contender because they don't have enough support. So they have to go out and work that support again and get hundreds and hundreds of people to support them to actually be on a ballot.
But do they
Look, the Green
even-
Party got one.
Yeah, the Green Party even go. But do they even have do they have any income coming in, or are they representing anyone anywhere? Like, did they, is any of that happening, or they're just walking around like me trying to pretend they know something?
Well, they have money because, not a lot, they have money because they get donations, right? And people donate all the time and buy their merchandise and everything else. And if you go to their website, you can donate. And I don't know what their books look like, but they constantly have events to raise money. And so they're not out of it. I mean, they're out of the election, but they're still, the People's Party of Canada is still a party in Canada. And Maxime Bernier is the guy that's really behind most of it. So.
And he's doing really poorly. Like, he thought he was gonna
Yeah.
teach the Conservatives a lesson and split part of their votes, and he's done absolutely nothing. The poor guy. You know what? I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I should, if he wants to feel successful, if I opened a party and I went up against him, he would have more support than me, and therefore he could feel successful because he has more support than me. So I'm gonna.
I guess that's the way to do it.
The R party, the RP.
Okay,
We
now
just-
we're getting
the Randy
into
party.
bogus stuff.
This isn't bogus. This
Guys,
is,
we're
this
on
is real.
YouTube.
It's a real estate
Your
party.
Team Pros with an S, we're on YouTube. We need 4 more subscribers and we hit 400 people. Come on. Somebody who likes us, go on and subscribe.
Your Team Pros. You just go
Yeah.
to YouTube, Your Team
And
Pros.
Gary, for the life of me, I do not know why I can never remember the email.
It is your
Okay, well-
101 at gmail.com.
Okay.
Your home, your money, 101@gmail.com.
There you go.
Gary says it's so much better.
He
Sorry,
does, he
sorry,
does. But he
babes.
has that voice. That's not even fair. You can't compete with that. You know, I used to have that voice when I was out and I was single.
Really, hey?
Yeah,
Really,
I
hey?
had that voice.
No,
back
you
then.
didn't.
It was quite.
No,
the
you did
voice.
not have that voice.
It was very, very.
Nice
very
try, though.
romantic.
No.
And then I
Here's the
lost it.
voice. Randy has this voice. In a world with real estate, Rodney is the one. He is the guy that you want to call. In the universe, it's Randy Rodney.
There you go. See, I still
Well,
got
Gary
it.
will big you
I
up.
s- I still got it.
You got a friend in Gary.
So Bloc Québécois got 22 seats. Can't they like team with the conservative? Oh no,
No,
they're
it's
still
not enough. They need the NDP too.
Oh no, they can't get the NDP. They
Yeah,
really
it's
want the
it's already, Singh already announced he's resigning from the party, NDP.
Oh,
And they're
he's
gonna-
got his pension now, right?
Well, he already got it. It's worth a couple $1 million a year now, so he got that. And the NDP is a far left. They used to be really good with blue collar workers, for the man, for the unions, but that went out the wayside 8-9 years ago. And so what's happening is now they center themselves with the liberals, and when they want to put something on the table to make them look good, the NDP, the liberals will say, yeah, we'll throw you a bone. We'll let you do that. We'll let you do that. And so then they give the votes to the liberals, anything the liberals want to do. That's how the liberals have the majority government.
Yeah, but isn't that how Jagmeet Singh sold his soul? And now he's basically
To the
kind
devil?
of destroyed the NDP party? Because they got 7
He did
votes.
destroy
Like, are
it.
they more powerful than last time?
Yes, when Jack Layton was ahead of the party, even though I wasn't a fan of him, he wasn't so far left. He was left wing about a lot of social issues, but he kind of kept things in check where, I want better health care, I want to give a better wage to people. He was for the people. Singh decided to destroy it. And by the way, Singh, I don't know if you knew his history. He's not allowed to go back to the country he was born in. Do you know that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, if you do the research on that, him and his brother were involved in some type of terrorist thing back 15, 20 years ago, and he's not allowed back in the part of the country he's in, and he's a wanted man in the country he's from. I can't remember. I don't think it's India. It's one of those other kind of like Bangladesh or something.
Hold on.
He's not allowed. Yeah, you can look that up.
And he's now getting a $2
Sounds-
million pension.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because he's a citizen here, right? He ran, and nobody would we don't have extradition with that particular country to send him on his way, so he's here,
Wow.
and he's a criminal in his own country. He can't go back.
Drama. I don't know if I can believe that, Gary.
I believe
How
what
about
Gary
you got
said.
any money? Do you got any money in your checking account or what?
Yeah, he's gonna bet you.
You got personal. You're talking about my checking account. There's nothing there. My
No, you got any money laying
I
around that
got
you can
$4
bet on, or?
Ask our listeners. They're all telling us we're poor
I
realtors.
had, I had 14.
Because I need some rent money, so you want to bet a grand or something?
You know Gary knows
Yeah, I know.
facts before he says it. You know that.
Yeah, that's true.
So let it go, buddy. You're
All
losing
right,
that one.
Jackie wants me to keep the last $4, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a whole history on him and his family. I mean, he's not wanted for murder or anything like that, but he was involved in some shady things to do with terrorism and stuff back years ago. And they said, you're not, you step off a plane back here, you're going to be arrested for investigation. So he's not.
Okay. Well, let's do some emails. We got an email from Jamie who says, so our home prices in the TO declining. Randy?
Yes, home prices are declining. They're kind of holding strong, and it really depends. Like overall, we've got a negative growth. However, when you peel back the onion and you begin to look at each community, each housing type, you get different results. So if you want to know the hierarchy, condos are bringing a negative yield. Detached homes in many communities are holding strong with close to a zero and close to a positive yield, so they're kind of holding their own. The market as a whole is declining. Overall, we are, if you're looking at new listings to sales ratio as your guide, which would be like a supply and demand guide, we are fully fledged into a buyer's market, which buyer's market definitely means that the sellers don't have a lot of say in the price, and it's buyers that are determining that. So we do have a weakening market. However, I guess we'll get into some interesting
Okay.
perspectives later.
Okay,
in
you
the
want me to
show.
do some
Yeah.
more then? Okay. So the next email's from Mike, and Mike sent this in yesterday, just for context. Who or when that will affect I think he's saying, how will that affect the real
How will
estate
that-
market?
okay.
Maybe, yeah.
So, okay, so that was Mike. So Mike, to be 100% honest, it really didn't matter who won when it comes to the real estate market. With the real estate market, it has been so beaten up that Polyev or Carney, neither one of them were going to have any positive effect on the real estate market. Here's the thing. The real estate market is a huge asset. It's one of the biggest assets or biggest things that Canadians own. And typically big things move slowly, right? Big ships don't move fast. It's the little speedboats that do. And it's similar in real estate. Real estate's not a liquid asset that moves fast. It moves quite slow. So what we have is a marketplace that has been eroded over time. And it's been, and even in its acceleration, that in itself was part of the erosion of the real estate market. And what I really mean by that is that when you give very, very low interest rates of, let's say, Bank of Canada overnight rate of 0.25%, that's 0.25%. You have a rate like that you're giving out to the banks, and not only that, you are also pumping money into the banking system through a quantitative easing process where you're jacking them with more a higher settlement balances, so they have more money in essence to lend to the public. What you're doing is you just pump and dump money into the system, and because of that, Canadians then have a whole bunch of money to do things. You then tell them that they can't really go to work. Everybody has to stay home. So you have, someone who has 2 children that are both in the home, and you got mom and dad both at home now. Neither one of them can go out to work. They both have to work in the home, but they don't have 2 offices. And so one has to be on one place, the other one on the other place, and then they got the 2 kids running around because the 2 kids can't go to school, and the household was just too busy. And so then now they want to be able to get something that can make their family life work. And don't forget, it's low interest rates. So the low interest rates now, the fact that they're, let's call it 2,000 square foot home, which is no longer big enough for a family that all 4 members have to stay in that house 24 hours a day. They want a 2,400 square foot house. So they can sell their 2,000 square foot house, which they have mortgages of 3 and 4%, and they can sell it and get in the market with a 2%, 1.75% interest rate, which is a lower payment, and they can pretty much make that swap for the same amount. And so then you got a bunch of Canadians running out, making that swap to make their families happy. Transactions are at an all-time high. You've got immigration coming in by the millions per year, 1 million and change per year coming in, adding more pressure on the housing market, and therefore you have an inflated housing market. And this is part of the erosion of the system. But then one day it all stops. The inflation rate is out of control. It's over 3%, going to 4%, 5%, 6%, 7%, 8%. And the Bank of Canada doesn't like that. So they start jacking up the rates, and now no one can afford with these new really high rates to buy homes. And that's kind of what we're seeing as what kind of happened in the marketplace. So the original question. So now I just want
back,
to,
sorry.
I want to just go back to
How will whoever
so-
wins affect the market?
So the winner of this election cannot reverse what just happened. It's just not possible. And as a matter of fact, it's really kind of sad to see some of the things that they were saying. Like, specifically, Poilievre wasn't really saying things that were impossible. He was just saying things that he may not, he says he's going to do, but are going to be a little harder to implement than he thinks, because his solutions had a lot to do with what the municipality government makes their decisions on. So at the rate of building and things like that. And the federal government has no power at the municipal level. So he was thinking he could bring in sort of like a bribe system. I will give you X amount of dollars if you get this amount of building, which kind of is an interesting way of bringing it to fruition. And it's possible. However, the municipal government is a very different animal than the federal government. Forget the municipal government. A lot of people who sit in there are, if you want to say left, like extreme. Like, these people love frogs and lizards and bugs and trees. Like, they love them.
But I'm not left, and I love
it's-
them.
Yeah, exactly. You have that spirit. And so they don't want to see trees being chopped down. They don't want to see frogs being displaced and bugs and lizards. So they're going to, it would be an interesting juxtaposition with Poilievre trying to bribe them, in essence, to allow for building, more building. And then there was still the problem with, okay, so the municipal government really wants to limit the land that it's built on. So you're looking for higher density things. Higher density just means that you're going to have like apartment buildings over houses, because you can fit a lot more units in a space of land, a lot more beds in that space of land, and therefore you can satisfy more needs in order to get the money that they're bribing you with. And so there was a lot of extra things to consider there. However, remember, we as Canadians have a lot of space. So we don't really want to all be cocked up in condos. We want to be able to have a family and have our children run in the backyard and have a dog be able to play. And that's what we're looking for, not necessarily a condo in the sky where we can overlook the city. So that's with Poilievre. But when we're going to Carney, then it just gets silly. Like, he really thinks he's going to build billions of dollars worth of housing. His plan actually made no sense whatsoever. He will never do it, and I will guarantee you right now, his plan is absolutely impossible for a number of reasons. One is, well, we're just not going to do that. We've never done anything like that in history. He's not going to be the first one to do it. He won't be the first one to promise it. But the thing is we don't even have the manpower. So we don't have the number of cranes. We don't have the number of machinery. We don't have the number of builders, and we don't have the number of contract workers to do what Carney is saying that he wants to do. And then there's other issues like with Carney's, he's talking about building all this affordable housing, just like the NDP. And guys, I am sorry. This is going to hurt a lot of anybody who likes it. They hate me after this.
Oh,
but when
boy.
they call it
The little bit that like you.
affordable housing, what they're talking about is basically Ontario housing. Is like this is the projects is what they're talking about when they talk about that. They can't make normal housing affordable. It's not possible. First of all, for builders, if you're building a house, they're charging you $100 and change to build, $100 and something thousand to get all your permits and all of that stuff in the development per house to be able to do. So when they're talking about affordable housing, how is it affordable if you're charging $100 and something to have guys rubber stamp the plan? Like, give me a break. That just doesn't even make sense. But it is what it is. That's what they charge. But then they're trying to pretend it's affordable housing. When they actually talk about affordable housing, what they're talking about is the projects. They will build some really poorly built buildings that are all for people who will end up being in the criminal trade. Not all of them, but a good portion, because the criminals have taken over all of the projects in Ontario, and I can't speak for all of the provinces, but they've taken over all of them, so why wouldn't they take over these ones? All of a sudden they're gonna be hands off on these ones? No, that's the way it works. Why? Because they don't claim their income. So where are they gonna live? They can't go and live in the big Taj Mahal, because if they don't have any income, how can they afford that? It's a red flag for the government. So they go and live in free government housing and take over that, take over the kids, buy them running shoes, make crime look cool, and take over all the people who live in those areas. So that is really my take on what our government, what any one of the winners will do. But if we were going to say what they should do is really kind of simple. You know what? Look back and say, hey, listen, there's 400 elements that you have for red tape for you to be able to build. We're going to strip that back. Give us a decent drawing certified by an engineer and an accountant, and there's a 90% chance we're putting that through, and we'll charge you $400 or $800 or something like that, and let it go through. Take the HST and ram that thing wherever the sun don't shine. Get rid of it. 100% when it comes to housing. Get rid of all these permit fees and all that stuff, and allow builders to go out there and build stuff that is actually well built, and not try to then make all this extra money. And I would also say that let's take a look at property taxes. Honestly, property taxes is a little bit out of control, and the fact that you raise them 10% in the in Toronto and 7% in the surrounding areas and things like that, that is just a huge increase. And then you're talking about affordability. You increase permit prices 30%, then you're talking about affordability. So stop doing that kind of stuff. Start actually, when you use the word affordability or these kind of things, really believe in what you're talking about. Help builders to actually make more money, because builders aren't making money on houses now, so they're not going to build it. And that it's really that simple. But we don't have anybody in government. The closest that we had would have been Poilievre, and unfortunately, I don't think he would have rose to the occasion 100% of the way, because he can't, because it's restricted by the different levels of government anyways. So no, real estate wasn't going to be positively affected by either party.
Okay,
Yeah,
go on.
that's my thing.
Okay, well, thank you for that mouthful, Randy Rodney. So we
Poilievre.
got Dawn, who said, did Randy vote? Yes, and that's all we're going to
Poilievre.
say. Then we're going to go, we got Alexander, oh, sorry, I got to go back and see the full name. Alexander. Hey, you're home. Who will it be? Anthony's Lib or Randy's Common Sense Conservatives? P.S. Hi, Jackie.
It was Anthony's
Hi,
lib.
Alexander.
And actually, Anthony is not a liberal at
No.
all. So he is real eccentric. He doesn't really care either party.
Yeah, he doesn't.
He thinks the conservatives and the liberals are both in the same category, and it's basically it's such a higher power than what he imagines that he just leaves it alone. Forget it. He doesn't deal with it. He doesn't care about it. He doesn't want to hear about it. That's it. That's Anthony.
Okay. And Linda says, are you happy about the outcome of the election?
You know what? I came to peace when Trudeau opted out, and then Carney came in, and then the world exploded. I watched the guys at our hockey who were all voting Poilievre all just default back to Liberals right before my very eyes, and I was like, what? And I actually watched it in real time happen in my small little circle, and that's when I said, and then the news was talking about how the Liberals have taken over, and I just closed my eyes on it and said, you know what, the truth of the matter is, it's not really going to matter either way to us. Who this election really affects is our children's children. And for us, when they give away all this free stuff, they don't start trying to collect on it till the next year, where they try to raise taxes a little bit, and then each year they have to raise more and more taxes. And really, it throws its way all the way down to our children. So it just seems to me that Canadians are willing to put their grandchildren in huge debt by having a government that actually gives away free stuff.
Okay. So how about those Leafs? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the next thing.
baby.
Let's cheer on the Leafs.
Yeah, baby.
Forget the government now.
Yep.
But anyways, Mason says, hey, Randy, we are effed.
Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but we'll see.
These guys like to torment Anthony. Anthony says he's going to be back to the show maybe in the next couple of weeks. He's just been really busy.
He bought a house, and
his kids are all in competitive sports
Yeah.
and dancing, and this is like the end of everything. So him and his wife are just nonstop running right now.
And he's a good husband. He's like you beta men out there that'll, have to do
he's
the
totally
laundry
opposite of you.
and vacuum the floor.
But
and all that
some
stuff.
men like to be happy and have their wives not nag. You like me to nag.
Well, no. First of all, wives are going to nag. Period. It doesn't matter. I don't care how many dishes you do. If you do the floors, I don't care. They're going to nag.
No, they're not. I
They
can tell you
are.
one woman right now that does not do any of that.
What are you talking about?
Sharon.
Who? What do you mean?
Sharon does not do that to her husband. Sharon is like
Yeah, but
the
she's-
perfect wife.
She is special. She took psychology in school. She learned a better way to communicate. Most women are just going to nag.
You said all women, so I'm just pointing out
Almost
that she
all.
does not do that.
She doesn't.
I've never, ever heard, never, ever, in 30 years.
Actually, she's probably one of the smartest.
Yeah.
Because her husband is a clean freak, so he'll do the cleaning. He don't have a problem. But there were times when he had said something like, "Well, I don't want to do the dishes."
No,
And she
it
goes-
wasn't
and
that.
something like that.
No,
And
she
then
wanted
said,
a cleaner when
"A
she was
cleaner."
going back to work after the kids.
And, then
And he said he
"You
could
don't
do
need
it.
So she wouldn't clean a
She
thing.
stopped. She didn't do a dish. She didn't do nothing until he's like, okay, let's get a cleaner.
Let's get a cleaner. So I think she's smart like
she's
that.
just in her own category. This
She is. She's
she
special.
Is.
She's
She
special.
is extremely. Yeah,
And,
I love her to death. She's
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. she would have.
so-
She would have programmed me properly, but
Yeah, she probably but I don't know if she would have wanted to.
yeah, it wouldn't have been worth her time. To be honest,
No, she would be like, hell no.
it wouldn't have been like programming Rick. That's for sure.
No. So Kelly says, yeah, Anthony's happy. And Brett says, a link. Hey, I just listened to one of you talking about the NDP leader. Here's a link on that. Oh, he's talking about, Pakistan, he's from Pakistan, is he? Yeah, it's, oh, I'm not quite sure what I did here, but guys, there is a link talking all about,
You've gone into one of those sites that,
I don't know, but there is info. Go search it up. I think it's ridiculous that somebody can come from another country who's won it, who's a criminal, and then they end up in our government, and now they're basically retired, and they're on a $2 million yearly pension. Like, come on.
that's what makes Canada great.
Come on, people. Like, hello. Like, this is
That's
like...
what makes Canada great, babes.
No, it's just, that's what makes it stupid. Anyways, Gail says, Randy and Jackie, according to the latest dossier prepared by the Indian intelligence officials, Jagmeet Singh, the leader of the Canadian second largest party, remains a pro-Khalistani and a pro-Pakistani ringleader in the country despite his deep Punjabi roots. He is wanted for questioning in the Punjabi region. And we're paying him money.
And what questions are you looking for?
Donna
Who's your wife?
says, what Carney wants to do. I will keep the legacy of Justin Trudeau. Oh, lovely. Mr. Trudeau knew what was good for Canada, and I will continue that dream. And that is a direct quote. Lovely. I think I want to move somewhere else.
Oh yeah, where are you moving?
I
you
don't
gonna
know.
move to Ireland with Rosie O'Donnell? Is that where you're moving?
Well, my background...
Jackie, I'll sponsor you. I'm already sponsoring 2 other Canadians.
There you go. You see?
But
You can stay
Ireland,
here.
there's a lot of fighting, and you're not really a fighter.
But I'm Irish. I can get down
And
and
you
dirty
don't
with
talk
them.
with a brogue yet. You'd have to learn to talk with a brogue, you know.
Exactly.
You can't just go down there and not do it, you know.
You know
But
what?
you
I
know,
was a
Gary, I
fighter.
can get down and dirty.
I was a fighter, and I don't think I would want to fight the Irish.
The fighting
And the
Irish, yeah.
and the British. The British, they go out to clubs. They have their lunchtime or whatever. Get in a fight, have a couple of beers. Then they're holding arms and everything after the fight. They're all singing and having beer and that.
Because
yeah.
you just move on, man.
And
Jim
then Conor
says,
McGregor
oh, sorry.
was Irish.
Yeah, he is. You
And
mean
he's
he
an amazing
is.
fighter.
He's
is
not,
Irish.
was.
Yeah, those are 2 countries that don't.
Jim
think.
said a nut. And just where, oh, sorry, I'll close it. And just where would that idiot Carney be? Carney get the billions of dollars needed to build these houses? Taxes. The only way that an idea like this would in fact work in the private sector, not the government
Yeah.
building homes. We all will pay for this, and the immigrants will recap the rewards. Carney is a financial nut. Yeah, I got to be honest. I'm a little scared of where we're going.
I'm not scared,
I'm-
but
I mean,
I do
it's
agree with what Jim
like,
said.
come on, we're already paying over 50% taxes.
Well,
And-
once you
and,
climb
like-
to that, yes.
And like our property tax is going up like ample amounts every year. Like in Whitby, they're like out here, they're horrible, the taxes. It's horrible. Anyways, yeah. Frank says, hello tonight. Love the show from Toronto. Everyone here voted Liberal. Way to go, Frank. From Toronto. Hey, David says, who cares about our children's children? F them. Let them figure it out. We need to enjoy our lives now. Screw them kids. Okay, David, I know you didn't mean that, David. I know
no,
it.
he probably does mean it.
I don't know. I mean,
Listen,
I've heard my
times
children.
are so hard right now.
I have heard my children say, I mean, they want to have children, but I have heard them say, like, sometimes, and I mean, they're not that old to be, knowing what they want in life and all that, but they have said,
22
why,
and 24.
yeah, why would I bring a child into this world?
It's insane.
It's a nasty world of hatred,
It's
of
not a nasty world. What are you talking about?
Randy, it's a lot of hate, is a lot of,
There's always a lot of hate.
yeah. Well, I don't
I
care.
think
Well,
there's-
yeah, you just said it's not, and then
yeah,
you said
but
it
there's
is.
But there is. Like, I mean, we all hate. Look, you and I, between us. I love
Where are the
chocolate.
kids going to live?
You
They
love
can't even
strawberry.
afford to buy houses
I
anymore.
hate strawberry ice cream. You hate vanilla ice cream. Who cares?
What?
You know what? I'm just saying the hate. The
Yeah,
hate.
but I'm saying, like,
What
where
kind
they
of
going?
ice
All
cream
they're
do
going
you
to be is it's working their fingers to the bone just to try to survive every day. A lot of these kids out there. That's what's going to happen. But you know what?
You mean like we did? We had to work our
Yeah.
fingers to the bone?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know what? Here's the thing. It's not really that hard of a world. It's not easy, and nothing is easy.
not a
It's
nice
never been.
world.
You know what? It was worse before. In the caveman days, it was worse. You go out, you could get killed by a dinosaur. It was a
Oh my
lot worse.
gosh.
And then, it's not like we could go to the grocery store to get food. We had to go out and risk our lives to get food. It's not like.
Yeah, when
we
you
can
put it
make
like that, I guess,
We can
yeah.
make it as bad as we want to make it, but here's the thing: none of that's important. What's important, I think, and I think life
Is you
ends
get
up-
out there and you show up every day for whatever it is you're doing. Get out there, show up, and make it happen. I don't know.
I'm going to agree with that. I'm going to agree with that. Get out, whatever it is that you believe your best is. One of the biggest regrets that I have is I have not really lived my best, to my best. And because of that, I've gained certain habits that cause me to move slower than I should move. And at this point, when I'm on my last laps, I am actually very upset with myself, and I want to be able to prove, hold on, I'm not finished.
Yeah, but
don't count me out.
You're just going to waste time being upset with yourself.
Well, or either that or I'm going to motivate myself to do something extraordinary. I don't know. We're going to see how that all plays out. But when you're young, to have a attitude or an opinion that is counterproductive to you living your fullest, that scares me. And if our children are thinking like that, that is just not healthy. And I know a lot of children like that today are thinking like that. And as parents, we need to put a stop to that.
Thinking
if
like
you
what?
don't
Sorry?
thinking that, oh well, why would I bring a child into this world? This world is an amazing world. When I was younger, I'd go to school, I'd be called a jigaboo, a spook, a monkey. Like, that's how it was. They don't do that today.
I walked to school in 10 feet of snow.
Yeah, and life was pretty depressing, but we rose through it. Then what happened? Then I married an absolutely beautiful woman, and we had beautiful children.
wow.
We had a great run, and so those hard
But
times.
we're old and we still have no grandchildren.
Those times were hard, but and our children are going to face hard times. But what they went through was nothing like what we had to go through.
Yeah, I guess.
Their lives were so simple and so easy. So I can see how for them life is very difficult
Because they
because they had it
true.
really easy.
Most
And
kids have,
therefore,
yeah.
and therefore they don't have the grit to be able to fight through things because they haven't had to fight through much at all. The worst thing they had to fight through was, oh, my brother is whatever, or whatever, or my mom was mad at me. That's the worst thing they had to fight through. So I really think it would be nice if we could help our children to put things in perspective, but we may have already kind of lost the war by giving them such an easy life.
But you want to give your kids more and better than what you had. I mean, that's kind
but
of
we
like
might have went too far
that's
as a
very
society.
common. It's very common,
we might
though,
have went
Randy.
too far. First of all, why? Like when we were younger, what was it? We would get underwear and socks for Christmas. Why did you get underwear and socks? Because you needed it. That's why you got it.
Oh,
And
I
that
got
was
a
your
little more
Christmas
than
gift.
underwear and socks, but okay.
Well, great. And so if you got more than that, it was wonderful. I was watching a show. It was some kind of YouTube short where a parent was showing what they had given their child. He got like 15 gifts, and I was thinking, wow, I don't even know if that's mentally healthy because what's that child going to be thinking? Like the next birthday's got to be better and all this bigger and better and bolder and faster. It's like, hold on a second. You know, I remember that was one of the things that you love to do. Give the kids all kinds of gifts.
Yeah.
And
And are your kids bad kids?
well, that part.
Do they got their heads on straight?
That part.
Can they
wasn't
take care of
good.
themselves?
The kids are good. I'm not going to say that they're not
There
good.
you go, then.
But I think that wasn't a healthy part of life, and I personally, and I think that yes, okay, the child to get a gift. I think one of the problems. Look at today. What you give a child a phone, you're paying for it every single month for the rest of their lives, and that's like a birthday or a Christmas every single month. Every single month, and then on top of that, you got birthdays and Christmas because the kids don't appreciate you paying for
So
their
hold
cell
on,
phones.
is this the same kind of, let me see if I can relate what you're saying.
Get out of here.
No, I can pull this off, listen. So is that the same as when I rubbed your back last night and you fell asleep, and then, no, not last night, the night before, and then I got up and I rubbed your back again in the morning because you said your shoulders were hurting, and then we came to work, and I said, okay, I was running out. Was busy all day. I was going on an appointment, whatever, I had things to do. And you're like, oh, but just 1 minute. So is that what it is? Are you saying the more you give a person, the more they want, and the more, is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Oh,
That's exactly.
so you're a
what I'm
perfect example of that then,
Yes.
to show your children.
Yes. That you mean
Okay.
that?
Just wanted to put it into perspective
Yeah,
here,
you
what
can
you're
put-
saying.
You can put it in
you know?
perspective. And then, so when you put that into perspective, now you have a husband who's been with you for 30 something years.
And you have a wife that's
and
been with you for
madly in
30
love,
something
and
years.
madly in love.
But you've been
Yeah.
with,
So-
you had a wife that put up with you for 30 years
yeah,
too.
So the thing is that those things didn't actually go.
No.
So- There's
No.
lots of women who they didn't get to the 30-year mark.
You were saying. So now I get it. I shouldn't do as much for you because, you know, like this saying, right? Spare the rod, spoil the child. So I guess that's why you're a big kid, because I spoil you too much. You're doing too much.
Possibly, like if you wanted to be a single baby mom, you could have just not bothered spoiling your husband. Yeah, that's a possibility.
Okay, just wanted to make sure we got the perspective right here. Anyways, you know
Let's go
what,
to the
guys?
market. I'm seeing-
Listen, the market is going to come back. We just got to wait. It always comes full
Yeah,
circle.
well, of course.
It'll come full
You know,
circle.
You know,
Life will get better.
right now I'm seeing the top 3 Google searches on real estate and mortgages in Ontario, Toronto, GTA, are all about a fraudster
Oh, jeez.
trying to get a mortgage on a $12 million commercial property without, you know, the owner finding out. And it didn't work out. The fraudsters
Jeez, he
hijacked
really,
the GTA man's company record and tried to create mortgage fraud. So I'm
Go
guessing,
big or go
I
home.
haven't read it because I just saw it, but I'm guessing that what they went in and was probably changed, because if it's owned commercially, that's public records, then they go in, adjust the public records, and then go and get a mortgage. I'm guessing. I have to really read that
12
over.
million,
The next
eh?
one says Greater Toronto home sales decline in March.
Yeah.
So the home sales declined 23.1%. So transactions were down quite a bit.
Look at BMO one. Read that one.
BMO tightens mortgage rules due to tariffs. The home of the week and more top real estate
That's
stories.
golden.
So
Yeah,
there,
but-
you know,
wow.
you know, and this was another little pet peeve of mine. Why I voted the way I voted was Carney's approach to the United States tariffs thing.
Is fight.
You know,
like
I see things a little differently.
Trump will not give up the fight.
It doesn't even matter if he does or not. You know, here's the thing. Our Liberal Party does not want to use the natural resources in the earth. They don't. They just don't want to use them. They figure they're better under the ground, and therefore they're just not allowing them to be used in many different ways. So okay. So then now we're stuck with only trading with trading partners due to proximity, because our Liberal Party doesn't want to become international traders, whatever it is. So then in comes someone like Donald Trump that says, hold on a second, I've got the biggest store in the world. My store is almost 1/4 of the rest of the world all combined. And if you want to put your goods in my store, then you have to do fair trading. And you think for a second, well, what does fair trading mean? Well, I think he went about it all wrong personally, but that's just I'm not smart enough to do what he's doing, so I don't know. But I think that he should have just really simply said, hey, listen, we all wanted fair trade. We all wanted free trade. And what we don't have fair and free trade. So what we want to do is we want to allow the people to work within our store, our country, our economy, who believe in free and fair trade. And then from there, spread your message instead of, oh, I love tariffs, I'm gonna tariff everyone, and Canada should become the 51st state. That's all the wrong rhetoric. And that's what led to us getting, I believe, our Liberal Party in place, because he's saying, oh, you gotta deal with this hard and tough. There's no hard and tough to deal with that. We're tariffing. No, never mind. We're tariffing ourselves. This is one of the things that we found out through this process, is that we as Canadians, from province to province, are tariffing each other. It's ridiculous. And so and that's where Doug Ford was at first. Oh, the states, we're going to hit them hard, and then he's like, hold on, we got to get rid of the tariffs amongst us, because tariffs just became part of the whatever they felt was necessary. But we were trying to move to a free trade, not a tariff trade, and with special taxes and propping up your currency and all this stuff. It was supposed to be free. And now, unfortunately, the way in which Donald Trump is proposing it is problematic, I would say. However, at the same time, I believe that the actual what he wants as the result of it is the right thing, is to have free trade and fair trade, not lopsided trade where we're tariffing each other, which makes no sense. However, to get there, how will we get there? Well, let's just hope that Carney is not going to go in and fight, because you can't fight the fact that you are tariffing the America after so many eggs, whatever, you're going to tariff them 200%. You can't fight that. There's nobody in the world that would even accept that as a premise for doing business with you. But that's the way it was. But that's changed. Now they've got someone in who is actually interested in making sure that all the extra money that's being spent in one goes to the taxpayers, not to their friends and their buddies and all that stuff. So it's a different game now. And I'm hoping that Carney is going to understand the game and understand that it really needs to be free and fair trade, and that we get in there as soon as possible so we have the best trading conditions with the United States, and we have a front row seat, as opposed to waiting until many other trade partners go in there, and therefore we're only getting scraps. Because there are things that we have that the United States needs. It's 100% that they really can't really go elsewhere for it. However, we want more trade than just that. And so get in there early. Change your mindset from this tariff-ridden trade that even we're doing with ourselves into a free and fair trade that we can do with the rest of the world. Let's start using our natural resources, bring it free, and taking on the spirit of where the United States is going. And I'll give you an example of one of the things that I think is just almost miraculous. Here he is throwing his tariffs around. He says, oh, you know what? See all this tariff money we've made? Maybe what we'll do is we'll eliminate taxes for everybody under 200,000. Like,
Maybe.
could we not do that here? Could we not try to figure out how, instead of giving millions of dollars to this country and to this person and free dental for illegal immigrants and all this stupidness, and actually help Canadians who are working and contributing, trying to contribute to their country? I think that's the way to go. That's my take on that whole thing. And then now, if I can go into the real
You've
estate,
only got
what do I
3
got?
minutes,
Oh, 3
not
minutes.
even. You got 2
Listen,
minutes.
I was at a
You can't go into that. Do it next week. That's too much.
I want to do it right now.
You can't. You got 2 minutes, and we don't even have 2 minutes.
1989.
You know what, guys?
1989.
No, you know what,
I
guys?
won't go into that. I'll go
No,
into
you know what, guys? Go subscribe to YouTube. Give me some love. 4 people. Come on, I want to see that 400.
even though it's only 2 minutes, it can still be
No,
2 minutes
because
of
it's better-
content as opposed to just being whatever.
It is better to go through. No, listen. I'm telling you.
Okay.
I feel that what you're going to talk about
It doesn't matter. Talk to them. Don't talk
requires more time, and I think you need to even
Okay.
have maybe some slides because it was mind blowing.
to me. Yeah, for you. I get it. So my thing is I got 2 minutes, and I don't want to just talk about what we can't talk about. The 1989, we had one of the worst real estate recessions we've ever seen in the history of the Toronto Real Estate Board. And we are in that kind of a slide right now. And so from 1989 to now, 1989, 10 years later, the market changed. It went back and it went up more ferociously. So what I would say is we're going through the 3rd year of this down market. Next year is going to be another down market. That will be the 4th year. Guys, there might be no more, 1 more or 2 more years left, and you will need to be ready
Music
for
is
this
coming.
marketplace. Okay? Because it's going to
Which
do
we're going to
well.
elaborate on
This
next
has been
week.
your home, your money, in our lives on realityradio101.com. Bye
Bye
for
for now.